Her name is Size 8 Reborn. The song is known as Pale Pale. Kule ametoka ni mbali sana bana, lakini Mungu amemtendea makubwa hata zaidi. Right here on Tukuza, welcome to church, good to have you. Ningependa kutuma salamu tu, kuna vijana wengi sana ambao tuko pamoja nao na wanaendelea kutufanyia kazi mzuri. Hiyo ni online team, tuko na DJ Jijo pale. Nikituma salamu nasalimia. Tuko na TJ, ama pia unaweza muita TJ, tuko na Evans Mutai, tuko na Dan the DJ, tuko na It's Kilosh. Najua pia siku hizi anaitwa Maingi, Maingi. Ule pia tuko pamoja, full house kabisa. And thank you so much for joining us. Remember, you can get in touch with us. Our Twitter handle is @KTN Tukuza. Our Facebook page is Tukuza. So, wacha tuzungumze tu. Later on, we'll be having Pastor Mark Maingi, who will be sharing together with us and praying together. So, send us your prayer requests. Tutakuwa tunaamini Mwenyezi Mungu kwa makubwa ambayo atakuwa anatenda katika maisha yako. But like we told you earlier, every Sunday we have a segment called My Testimony. We just get to hear what God is doing in the lives of his people. Today we have a guy, atatuambia kwa undani zaidi. A lot of people who interacted with him don't know his full name, jina ya serikali, lakini atakuwa anatueleza. My brother.
Yes, sir.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
And good to have you.
Thank you. I'm honored.
You're honored to be here. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Labda tuanze tu, you will tell us who you are. Majina yako kamili ni gani?
Majina yangu ya ID.
Ya serikali.
Anaitwa Bernard Maina Mwaniki.
All right.
Yes, originally from Nyeri.
Okay.
Yes.
And people call you Gbena.
Yes, Gbena. That's my stage name. It's a name that when I got into music,
all right,
I wanted to allow God to have the first place in my life.
Okay.
So I made sure that God came before Gbena in everything I did. So I said,
G.
God, Gbena.
And that's why your G is a capital.
Yes. It has
God
to be.
before Gbena.
Yes.
Gbena.
It has to be.
Nice.
And
I like
because
that.
I purpose that everything I do, it will be all about him.
Right.
And that is how I came up with the name.
All right.
And I thank God for the much that he has done.
And you said when you go to music, I mean, your music is a totally different one, and you'll be getting to know about that.
Yes.
We huimbi.
Yeah.
Unafanya muziki kitofauti kabisa.
Yes.
Tutakuwa tunazungumza mengi.
Yeah.
Gbena, I want us to, you have a very powerful story of what God can do in someone's life.
That's true.
I want us to get to understand about your beginnings. Where did you start, and how has God progressed you to where you are today?
Let me say this. I am one person who believes that you can only fail to become the person that God intended you to become by choice. It's by choice.
Right.
Because I'll say I'm one of those people who are not from, those people from Mashinani. I remember one time. Hey, Ocha. I remember at one time when in the school we were in, and I remember there was a tour to come to Nairobi.
All right.
And the whole class had to changas some money for me so that I could get the 300 to come to the trip. I was doing very well in school.
Okay.
And the teachers had to request the others to raise money for me to yes, I couldn't afford to get 300. And I am one of those people who you could only get money, like your pocket money, and even to assist your parent to pay up some school fees through your holidays. Wow. You do some kazi, vibarua, so you could get some money such that when you're going back. What was the
condition of your parents? Yani umaskini wao ulikuwa umeenda how deep?
I will not say much is umaskini. I think we were many, and we are 10. And I think by the time they were getting to me, walikuwa wameshafanyia wengine kazi mpaka now it was like 8.
Oh, Jama, you're which born?
I am the sixth born.
Sixth born?
Yes.
Kwa hivyo wale wa mbele wamesonga nini?
Yes, I have brothers who graduates and they're doing very well. And my parents had invested very much on them.
Right.
And when we got to now our point, I thank God because he had given us wisdom in school. We were doing very well, and but the finances were an issue. To have like 6 kids in school at the same time was a big challenge. And you had to think like a wise person that when you go back home after holidays, during the holidays, you had to do something because you could feel the burden that you yeah. So I used to, immediately I got to home after school, I would get somewhere to go and work. So that at least by the time you're going back, I'll not ask my parents for anything.
In fact, the money you got was actually helping them as well.
Yes, and I thank God, because even when we were going to school and guys are closing, you see these baby guys and when they wanataka kuuza vitu, the money I had, I would buy things and go with them at home, like uniforms.
So shule inafungwa, watu wanauza vitu because they know they will be given money.
Watarudi na zingine.
So wewe unanunua hizo vitu.
And I would take advantage, I would buy.
Sasa hizo vitu unapeleka wapi?
Naenda nazo home. You see, there's nothing bad as poverty mentality. Because you want to secure because you don't see things working out. So you want to buy uniforms, some are even oversized, but you want to buy such that you'll not ask your parent. You want to save them the pressure of telling them about uniform. So when these guys are selling the uniform, you'll buy. And you'll buy at a throw because maybe they have spent the money. And for you, because from where you're coming from, you know how to save. You have some money left. And we grew that way, whereby you go into school, but at the same time, there's in a term you'll allow your parents to pay for your brother. And for you, you'll school from home. And it was a big challenge. I was in a big school, a big high school. And it was a big challenge to even comprehend. But by the grace of God, we were still able to perform. I thank God because His grace is always sufficient. We were able to perform. But even after performing,
where do you go?
You could not go anywhere. So when I did my Form 4 class, I had to think on what to do. So I went to a place called Narumoro, where I started farming onions, and it was a battle. And sometimes you see even cows eating your onions. You know cows don't eat onions. And it was
basically onions.
Una get job ya kuchunga ng'ombe from other guys, and you get something. And at that time, God came through because I had a brother in Narumoro. So he told me that they were relocating to Nakuru. And he told me, let's go to Nakuru. Maybe you can get a thing, because Nakuru now is a town. You can get something you can do by yourself. And I went to Nakuru. And life was not easier even there. Because I remember that's the time I started hawking in Nakuru. I'm well known in Nakuru.
Umehawk?
Nikienda Nakuru, any big shop, I'll buy things at wholesale. Yes, I've walked in Nakuru, those bows that you go around. I've done mjengo in Nakuru. I can show you houses we built in Nakuru. And life was tough. Life was tough in Nakuru. That is where now you become a man. Yeah, because I remember you would work. I tell people some things and they hear like me story, whereby you see when a hawker sees that you're interested even in a handkerchief, he'll follow you till you buy. So sometimes unafuata mtu ananunua handkerchief ya 20 bob, ya 10 bob, unalipa gari ya 20 bob kurudi because umemtembeza. Then akinunua you realize venye uko bali.
Yani umeenda na mtu. Sasa itabidi ulipe double ndio urudi kulikuwa.
And you get into the evening, I think it was not business. It was something to keep myself busy. Because at the end of the day, huoni do ile, you walk home, you sell your stock at a throwaway.
I am amazed at the persistence of a hawker. Yani akiona tu hata ukifanya macho hivi.
We would even give kids toys. Now tuna make sure ameharibu. that has to be paid. And it was very tough because in Nakuru, that is where I even got to know Jesus at a time when I was in Mjengo and life was very tough. But I went to a place whereby there was a church. It was a social hall. And I was in town, na sina form, sina mpango. Then I hear preachings and I decide, those preachings are familiar. Mtu anajua story yangu. I was a staunch Catholic when I was back at home. So mambo ya wokovu, I was those najua Mungu, naenda mbinguni. And it was very hard to convince me about hiyo wokovu. And I went to that church and I sat outside. Kulikuwa na benches, the Reverence Church, Lanet. And I sat on those benches. Nisikia huyu mtu anaongea story yangu ameambiwa na nani. And I had a cousin who was in that church, a relative. And I said, wacha nisikie kani yeye amepatia huyu mtu story yangu.
Ulikuwa unaamini kabisa?
Yes,
story yako anaongea.
Yes, you see, when God wants to draw you close to him, he will do things in a way you cannot understand. But he was just giving a story. It was not my story, but it could connect with what I was going through.
Yeah.
I listened, nikasema kuna mtu amempatia story yangu. And I went to church at the time the sermon was almost over. So he said, we'll continue from there next Sunday.
Wow.
I said, nitakuja hiyo Sunday. Nisikie kama atasema finally ni mimi. And when he preached, and then he said, God knows your situation, God knows your state. I said, hii kuokoka nayo ni gumu, sababu sikuwa nimeamini. So after the sermon, I went home. And on Monday, Tuesday, I had a big conviction. And I went to the church office on Wednesday and said, I want to know this. Jesus, you're saying,
pushed you.
Yes, I could not sleep for 2 days.
Amazing.
Because by then, because of frustration and thinking you're educated, you're feeling frustrated because you performed very well, but you could not get money. I'll not lie to you, I did not get my results because I had arrears in school. So you're feeling frustrated because
and then you're doing things, you're thinking, this is not my place.
That is what, so I tried to confine myself to the guys now who had no life. They were just drinking.
Yeah.
They were just living for the sake of living.
Yeah.
And when I got to understand now there was a bigger power, I said, let me try it.
Wow.
Let me try this. And from there, God gave me peace, some sort of peace. Not that things changed.
Yeah.
Even as to tell someone, sometimes you get born again and you thought things will change.
Yeah.
Still nilifanya mjengo. But I thank God because now I could see things differently.
Right.
At least I had somewhere I could call home. Because at that time when you don't have a purpose, even dressing was an issue. I was on baggy jeans, long t-shirts, ile tu.
Tunafaa kutupea hizo
sleepers. Normal. So I started getting a purpose in life. Having Christ is awesome. Because I started having a purpose in life. And it's from Nakuru now that God started shaping me.
All right.
Got a job in a law firm. Like as an ambulance chaser, we call them ambulance chasers. Ukisikia kuna accident mahali,
unakimbia.
When you hear there's an accident that has maybe in Nakuru or anywhere around.
Road accident?
Yes, you run. Because when you take that client, you get 2,000. That was very good money. Okay. Then you leave the person to the lawyer for now the things that they do.
Yani unangoja tu kusikia accident.
Tulikuwa tunaitwa ambulance chasers. Ukiona ambulance unafikiria maybe there's someone amekuwa kwa accident. And from there God started now giving me purpose in life. Because the guy I was working with in the law firm was also born again. So he started ministering to me. From there, the lawyer I was working with had a hotel in Lake Elementaita. I went there and I enrolled in classes of hospitality as a hotelier. Very good in cooking.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So chef, I started working there. And from there, that is when now, because at the same time you're still remembering, you wanted to do this in life. But you're not doing it.
Yeah. And you don't know how to
you
connect.
You don't know how to connect, to plug in. And as I was there, God also connected me now to someone who made me come to Nairobi. And when I came to Nairobi, that is when now I came with a passion of doing music. Remember, there was no one at home who had done music. So I got to Nairobi, went to Caliph Records, just to hang around and to feel that joy of music. And I recorded a song. I've done music.
Oh.
Yes, I have done an album.
Yeah, mimi sikuwa najua.
Zilikuwa ni za ku.
Hebu turapie moja ulikuwa na.
The first one was comical because I was told it's all about rhyming. Vile ilivyo, ndivyo hivyo ilivyo. vivyo hivyo ndivyo itakavyo, sio vile watu wasemavyo bali vile Mungu.
Bora ni rhyme tu ikubaliane.
And I thank God because I was very passionate.
Right.
I was very passionate and I would release music. Natoka studio kila mtu anaenda kwa ploti. Hiyo music ni kali. Umetoa kitu kali. Uko kwa studio sasa wanakuambia, si unipe kivasi niongeze. Watu kipeleka kwa media. Peleka kwa media, these guys are like, hey, someone told me, hii studio uliona ufanye. Ungenunua ng'ombe bana. Na hiyo do, because I would get money and run to the studio. I was very passionate. Wow. But I thank God because I know, and now I can tell, He want the life I'm living today. I'm living a fulfilled life.
Wow.
Because of what I do today. And I had to go through many challenges, even on music. Where you do music, umejichocha. Kwa plot unanyamazisha watu. But now when you take the music to where it matters, people look into you.
They think,
they're like, hey,
what am I doing?
There's something wrong with you. And I did not have any person to tell me what I should do. Because when you get to the studio, there are very many people in the studio. So the studio doesn't have your time like to guide you on everything. So whatever you go to record, that is what they would record, because we had very few studios by then. And I told God, I made a vow to God at one point, and I told Him, God, if you get me out of this mess, because I was feeling I'm very passionate, but there's something that is not adding up.
Right.
And I told God, at one point I made a vow, I said, if God, you get me out of this, I'll help someone else not go through it.
All right.
And I said, and I forgot. Then after some time, I was doing ministry with K-Crew, and this guy tells me, we have seen your passion. We want to sponsor you to do something that you want. And at that time, I had told God, mimi na mambo ya mziki. I was frustrated, stuck.
Yeah.
So I wrote a proposal at hotel. The only thing I could. And then I go home and nasikia pana. The thing I've done, haitanipatia fulfillment. A deep conviction. And I changed overnight and I wrote a proposal, a music. And this guy is approved. But when I did the first song, now from the sponsorship, God reminded me, remember, it is not about you. That's the time I connected with, I was connecting with Kina Kroba.
Right.
Still, they were not in the media, but at least they could give you direction. And I remember when I was doing that song, I was still, you see, the sponsorship was not in form of money. It was out of goodwill. I can call a studio, you go record. And at that point, when I was doing that first song, I had gone to church because how ilikuwa imefungwa. And unaenda church, morning devotion, kutetesha Mungu. Nikasikia ni kama kwa church, haitakuwa the right place kutetesha Mungu. Nikatoka. Nasema nitaenda Uhuru Park ama Central Park kwenda kutetesha God huko. Nikasema, you said I come with reason together. Yangu ni noma. So I remember I went to Central Park, and I will live to thank God for
that opportunity.
a mom. I call him a mom, Joy Kroba.
Right.
She was in Central Park, and she started prophesying things to me.
I remember I had a chat with her, nasema alikuwa na soda.
Yes.
Na alikuwa na soda.
Ni yogurt.
Yogurt.
Ile iko na peanut, iko na
na ilikuwa hiyo tu. She didn't even have money, right?
Yes, I remember. And she blessed me and she told me, go.
Alisikia msukumo, kuna mtu ako na njaa. Ulikuwa umekaa njaa.
Nilikuwa nimebit. Nilikuwa na issues na God. As in, this thing is just too much. And she was burdened. She spoke to me.
Wow.
She spoke to me, and from that moment I said, hey, I think God, you have a different agenda.
Right.
Because I was going there to complain. But the song that God gave me from then was like, nitajifunza kusema ni asante.
Wow.
Na kushukuru kwa hali zozote. Sitakubali ninayopitia kuchukua nafasi ya Mungu ndani yangu.
Right.
Because it had gotten to a point whereby the storms in life,
too much.
Even when you're very sincere, you're like, there are things that are not adding up because you've given your life to Christ fully.
Right.
But now things are not, you're not seeing this impact. And when I did that song, it performed well.
Right.
But then God reminded me, it's not about you. And that is when I started working with guys. I picked music from the likes of Jackie Kotira, gave out, and the songs played. I was very happy.
Right.
And that is how King Biz
started.
came. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So today, and I'm sure your story is long and
It's
it has
long.
finer details ya
long.
hiyo hustle. Ukikuja Nairobi ulikuwa unafanya kazi gani?
Sijui.
Hata ujui.
I don't know nilikuja. Okay.
But you did every kind of...
I have done all sorts of job. My agenda was to get money. But at that time, this guy who brought me here, he had hotels, Seasons Restaurant.
Right.
And it's like he knew I don't know what I've come. So he told me, position yourself where you want to work. And by the grace of God, I found myself doing accounting. So I decided to take a course that would help me in accounting. Because he could trust me. So he pushed me to money.
And so today, Gbena, you've talked about King Biz. That's what you run. Today you help musicians,
Yes.
gospel musicians,
Yeah.
find, I don't know how to nail it, you help them find their place.
Yes.
And you advise them. You are basically consult and advise them on how they need to do music. And, and you take music around. Watu wanakuitaje huku nje? Promoter. Si ndio? Kuna watu wanakuita River Road.
Wanasema mimi ni wa River Road.
Wewe ni mtu wa River Road. So that's what you do. Tell us a bit more about that and how that is connected to purpose.
Yes.
When you are at Central Park. Tukimalizia tu.
I will say, I think that was the whole purpose. That is why I said, you can only decide not to become the person God created you to be by choice.
Right.
Because when I sought God about it, and I remember the vow, and I would do that and feel fulfilled, I thought, now this is a purpose I can have in life. And when God told me it's not about you, then I said, I think I need to have a professional way of working it out. Right. And by the grace of God, God burdened people, gave me people, lawyers, people would draft contracts for me. And I started working professionally. Okay. And because of the vow I had made that I would help someone or go through the same, I would take time. I actually take time to sit with an artist, even before they record, so that you can guide them, because there is nothing as frustrating as you've released music. I have sons and daughters in the kingdom, most of in the music ministry. And these are people that we've worked together. Like Rosemary Jaggi, I've worked with her for 7 years.
Right.
I have people from US, the likes of Mary Kareri. I have as young as Mimo Peter, who is 5 years. And my fulfillment is when I see passion that gets to public, becomes a blessing to people, and also becomes a blessing to the person. Because that is what was not there before. Right. Whereby an artist can be a blessing to people, and at the same time, you're also blessed.
Right.
Whereby
through most of the time they bless people, but they struggle.
Yes, that's the thing.
They have no money to record and to do stuff like that.
At King Biz, we try to balance all that, whereby when we get an artist, when you're very new, we'll guide you. At least we sit with you and know where you graced in. Right. Because there are those people who are graced in ministry, performing. There are those who are graced in selling their music online. There are those who are graced in roadie shows, writing music, and even selling to people. And after sitting with a person, you'll get to know where they flow easily. So you'll help them, you'll assist them in that. And again, we also relieve them the burden of releasing music, running to the studios.
Wewe ndio unapeleka.
Akishamaliza music, Lady B can tell you, the moment she finishes her song, even if she's in Mombasa, she'll send me the master. I'll make the copies. I'll distribute the music, just to relieve them.
Because of your network.
The frustration. Right. I thank God for you guys. Like, you've been very supportive, very supportive. And that's a thing. Yes, he has been very supportive. I salute him, even for the chances to have artists that I know coming for interviews. And it has helped me in credibility, because one thing I work with is sincerity. If it cannot work, I'll tell you it will not work. I know sometimes it will hurt you. Rather than promising you something that will, I'll guide you in a way now that will work. Rather than showing you it will work, And then it fails because it's more frustrating when you get to a point and you don't find your way out.
All right. Yeah. You mentioned some of the artists you work with. You mentioned Rosemary Njagi.
Yes. Mimo Peter, Praise McKenna, Gloria Muliro. Yes.
Many more.
Mary Kareri. I have a number. Basically, God, I have Neno Diema. A new kid on the block. And I'm happy she's doing very well. And that is one thing I thank God about when you see these people now getting fulfilled.
Yeah. We will get, I mean, probably someone wants to work with you, we'll get your contact. But I want you, as you finish, Gbena, to clearly tell us why it is very important for you to trust in God and to allow God to work in you. Because I'm sure you look back where you've come from, hizo mijengo ulikuwa unafanya, Hawking, Nakuru, and where you are today, and where God is taking you. Because you ameanza tu na wewe.
Thank God.
Why is it important to stick to your passion and to stick to what God is saying, that you do purpose for yourself? And what are the results of that?
First, I'll say it's very painful to be frustrated, yet you're waking up every morning to go and work. It's very frustrating. And knowing, like what Jeremiah 29:11 says, for I know the plans I have for you. Plans to give you a hope. But you see, when you're not in line, when you don't get, it's God who has our purpose. Right. It's God who has an agenda, because he knows the end from the beginning. And he created each and every one of us with a purpose. But sometimes we try to fix ourselves in the places we're not supposed to be, just because you have a need, just because you're pressed. And you can feel this is where I'm supposed to be. But you have, I know guys who have a passion for ministry, who have a passion for initiatives, but you're fearing to live where you are because of the fear of the unknown.
Right.
And at times you think, I would rather be in where I'm making some money at the end of the month, other than getting to where I don't know. But you see, now that's the mistake, because could be this is the thing that God created you to be, this thing that you're fearing to get into. And I'll not say that working at King Bees was easy at the beginning. For people to believe in you, I was the first person doing that, picking music and distributing music. People could not understand why I'm doing that so passionately. But the thing that was driving me is because I felt this is now where my purpose is. And it is very fulfilling, even when you get to town, when you meet like 10 people in a day and advise them, not even working. You leave the office feeling fulfilled, that their destinies that you've reshaped. Yet there's, in a way, you would have worked and got into an office, worked the whole day, made someone else rich, and you go home frustrated. Just because you're fearing to venture into that you feel, you are convinced beyond doubt that this is the reason why I was created. But you have the fear. But the thing I will say is very fulfilling to do what God created you to be.
It is very fulfilling to do what God
created you to be. Yes.
That's a powerful way of winding it up.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Contacts, your contacts, wanamuziki wanasema labda nataka kuwork na King Biz.
Yes.
Social media wapi?
In social media we are King Biz Inc.
Okay.
KINGBIZ.
Right.
INC. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. My contacts are 0721 753 699.
You can take that again.
0721 753 699.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And for turning around in a very short time.
Yes.
Nashukuru, hiyo ni udugu bana. Asante kwa turn around very fast and to be able to come for this interview.
Thank you.
Truly appreciate.
I'm humbled.
God bless you.
Yes.
And we trust that God will keep lifting you.
Aye.
Utakuwa unaangalia ule kijana wa Nakuru, unaona Mungu ni mkubwa.
I thank God because now I can go and tell them about Jesus and they believe. Yes.
Wow.
The guys I used to.
Because you look believable.
Yeah. They look at me and they say, ni nini ilichange? Ambia ni Yesu.
Nice.
And they can say, huyo Yesu anafanya kazi.
Amen.
Yes.
Baraka tele.
We thank God.
All right.
Thank you for having
That
me.
was Gbena, just talking about his humble beginning and where God has taken him right now, doing great things with the gospel musicians in this nation and beyond. And we come back in just a bit with Pastor Mark Maingi. He will be sharing and praying together with us. Later on, we have Violet Wanjala, who is our psalmist. So stand by for that and much more right here in Tukuza. Back to DJ Sadiq.